In this episode, we're going to talk about Joseph Murphy. I have to say, as much as I love Neville Goddard, for those of you who don't know, Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy have the same mentor, had the same mentor. His name escapes me. I think it was Abdullah, something like that. Anyway, and it's so interesting for me because those two are fascinating. Joseph Murphy and Neville Goddard's teachings are so incredibly well rounded, sophisticated, straightforward, and efficient. But even though they have the same mentor and they came from the same background, they differ in so many ways, even though they are kind of the essence is still the same, which is really, really interesting for me. And I have to say, I prefer Joseph Murphy. At least the teachings of Joseph Murphy are easier to to put in practice, so to speak. However, I think the macro concepts of the law of attraction by Neville Goddard are equally as good, if not even better. Things like living in the end, persistent assumptions are really, really great macro concept. But on the micro level, I would always prefer Joseph Murphy in the practice. Things like affirmation, guarding your thoughts, even though J- Neville Goddard also emphasize on those particular points, I think, at least for me, Joseph Murphy make it a bit more simple. When you read Neville Goddard and when you read Joseph Murphy, it's pretty obvious that one is much easier to read than the other. And I think a lot of you can appreciate it and agree. And I love both of them. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to read an excerpt from the great and short book by Joseph Murphy, The Miracles of Your Mind. I really love this book. It's really, really such an amazing book, and you can read it in a few hours. And I strongly recommend you guys read it. Also, before I start, uh, please subscribe, share, and comment on this channel. It does help this channel, my work a lot. Every time you comment, especially at the beginning, it does something to the algorithm that push my video in front of other people. And I really, really appreciate it. And if you don't like them, just don't do anything. Anyway, I digress. Let it let us start reading this beautiful excerpt from the book Miracles of Your Mind by Joseph Murphy. The subconscious mind and wealth. The trouble with most people is that they have no invisible means of support when business falls away, or the stock market drops, or they lose their investments. They seem helpless. The reason for such insecurity is that they do not know how to tap the subconscious mind. They are unacquainted with the inexhaustible storehouse within. A man with a poverty type mind finds himself in poverty stricken conditions. Another man with a mind filled with ideas of wealth is surrounded with everything he needs. It was never intended that man should lead a life of indigence. You can be wealthy, have everything you need, and plenty to spare. Your words have power to cleanse your mind of wrong ideas and to instill right ideas in their place. I've talked to many people during the past 35 years. Their usual complaint is I have said for weeks and months that I am wealthy, I am prosperous, and nothing has happened. I discovered that when they say I am prosperous, I am wealthy, they felt within that they were lying to themselves. One man told me, I have affirmed until I'm tired that I'm prosperous. Things are now worse. I knew when I made the statement that it was obviously not true. His statement and those of the others were rejected by the conscious mind, and the very opposite of what they affirmed and claimed was made manifest. Autosuggestion succeeds best when it is specific and it does not produce a mental conflict or argument. Hence, the statements made by this man made matters worse because they suggested his lack. The subconscious accepts only your convictions and beliefs, not just words or statements. The dominant idea of belief is always accepted by the subconscious mind. The following is a way to overcome this conflict for those who have this difficulty. Make this practical statement frequently, particularly prior to sleep. By day, by night, I am being prospered in all my interests. This will not arouse any argument because it does not contradict the subconscious mind's impression of financial lack. I suggested to one businessman whose sales were very low, and he was greatly worried, that he sit down in his office, get quiet, and repeat this statement over and over again. My sales are improving every day. I am advancing, progressing, and getting wealthier every day. This statement engaged the cooperation of the conscious and the subconscious mind. Results followed. The above is a very simple, unique way of impressing the subconscious mind with the idea of wealth. Perhaps you are saying as you read this chapter, I need wealth and success. This is what you do. Repeat for about 5 minutes to yourself 3 or 4 times a day wealth, success. These words have tremendous power. They represent the inner power of the subconscious mind. Anchor your mind on this substantial power within you, and conditions and circumstances corresponding to their nature and quality will manifest in your life. You are not saying I am success or I am wealthy. You are dwelling on real powers within you. There is no conflict in the mind when you say wealth or success. Furthermore, the feeling of wealth and success will well up within you as you dwell upon these ideas. The feelings of wealth and produces wealth. The feeling of being successful produces success. Keep this in mind at all times. The subconscious mind is like a bank, a sort of universal bank. It magnifies whatever you deposit or impressed upon it, whether it is good or evil. You sign blank checks when you make such statements as there's not enough to go around or there's a shortage. Maybe I will lose the mortgage, etc. If you are full of fear about the future, you're also writing a blank check and attracting negative conditions to you. The subconscious mind takes your fear and belief as your request, proceeding in his own way to bring obstacle, delays, lack, and limitation into your life. To him that had the feeling of wealth, more wealth shall be added. To him that had the feeling of lack, more lack shall be added. The subconscious mind gives you compound interest also. Every morning as you awaken, deposit thoughts of prosperity, success, wealth, and peace. Dwell upon these concepts, busy your mind with them as often as possible. These positive thoughts will find their way as deposits in your mind and bring forth abundance and prosperity. I can hear you saying, oh, I did that and nothing happened. You did not get results because you indulged in a few thoughts, perhaps 10 minutes later, and neutralized the good you had affirmed. When you place a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up. Suppose, for example, you're going to say, I shall be able to make that payment. Before you get further than I shall, stop the sentence and dwell on a positive, constructive statement such as, by day and by night I'm being prospered in all my ways. To prosper means to advance along all lines in wisdom, understanding, and material possessions. Money represents wealth. It is a symbol of exchange. It represents freedom, opulence, luxury, and refinement. I do not know of anyone who says that he has too much. In all probability, he is looking for more. Most people are under the impression that the value of their money is dependent on so much gold in South Africa or in the vaults of the United States Treasury. Others live in fear that the currency will be devaluated and they will lose. When the blood is circulating perfectly and harmoniously in your body, the physician says that you are healthy. Likewise, when money is circulating freely in your life, meeting all your needs, and there's always a surplus, you are prosperous. For example, if you listen to the radio and hear that there is a crash in the stock market, resulting in a worried or frightened feeling, you are conditioned and affected by some set of statistic or by a news broadcast. Your financial security and wealth are dependent upon your subjective or inner feeling of prosperity. When you are seeking to convey the idea of wealth and success to your subconscious mind, be sure you never make foolish statements such as, I despise money, it is an evil thing, it is the root of all evil. Such an attitude of mind will cause money to take wings and fly away from you. You would then be given two conflicting orders to the subconscious mind. One would neutralize the other and nothing would happen. Money has taken many forms down through the ages. What you really want is to have a subconscious conviction that money will always be in constant circulation in your life, meeting all your needs at every moment of time and every point of space. Money is essential for your economic health in this country. Therefore, you should have all you need and a surplus. Begin now to believe and claim that money is wonderful. Begin to love money and be friendly with it. You'll always have plenty. You'll never want Love is an emotional attachment. Except you love your work or profession, you cannot be a true success. Love always magnifies and multiplies. Love the idea of wealth until it becomes embodied subjectively. Write this down in big letters in your mind. What you love, you increase. What you criticize fades out of your life. You're familiar with this fundamental fact. When money is circulated freely in a country, its financial condition is healthy. Let it be a healthy circulation of money in your life too, particularly in your mental attitude. Believe that money is good. Think of all the good you can do with it. Become a mental inlet and outlet for a constant stream of wealth forever flowing to you and forever flowing from you in a perfect circulation. If you are having financial difficulties trying to make ends meet, it means you have not convinced your subconscious mind that you will always have plenty and some to spare. You know men and women who work a few hours a week and make fabulous sums of money. They do not strive or slave hard. Do not believe the story that the only way you can become wealthy or successful is by the sweat of your brow and hard labor. It is not so. The effortless way of life is the best. Do the thing you love to do and do it for the joy and thrill of it. Sing in your work. You will if you love it. Also, if you love your work, you are bound to be a success. An executive I know receives a salary of 60,000 yearly. Last year, he was on a 10-month cruise seeing the world and its beauty spots. He has convinced his subconscious mind that he is worth that much money. He told me that many men in his organization getting less than $100 per week knew more about the business than he did and could manage it better, but they had no ambition and no ideas. Money is simply a subconscious conviction on the part of the individual. You'll not become a millionaire by saying, I am a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. You'll grow into a wealth consciousness by building into your mentality the ideas of wealth and success. One of our students, who was formerly a $75 a week salesman, is now a sales manager at a salary of 12,000 yearly. It all happened within a period of a month. Every morning, as this person shaved, he would look into the mirror and say to himself, You are wealthy. You are a big success. This went on for weeks. In about 8 weeks, he was suddenly promoted over the heads of 80 other salesmen. While shaving, you are relaxed. As previously outlined, you can convey an idea to the subconscious mind by repeating again and again at intervals with faith and a joyous expectancy. Here's a question frequently asked in our large and enthusiastic classes held at the Wilshire Abel Theatre. If I feel a certain amount, such as $1,000, should I concentrate on that? You could do that and it would work. However, the general and best procedure is not to think of money in terms of any particular or set sum. Think of it in terms of plenty to sustain you with ease and perfect freedom of action. The reason for this is that whatever you impress your subconscious mind is always increased and multiplied like the grains of wheat sown in the ground bring forth of its kind 100-fold. The subconscious mind works under a law of abundance. Nature is lavish, extravagant, and bountiful. Increase your estimate of yourself. If you bargain with your life for a penny a day, the universe will respond accordingly. Many people have a keen desire for more money, but they have a subconscious pattern of $75 a week. Therefore, that is what they demonstrate, whereas they could demonstrate much more. Here is a simple technique for you to increase your consciousness of wealth. Use these statements several times a day. I like money, I love it, I use it wisely, constructively, and judiciously. Money is constantly circulating in my life. I release it with joy and it returns to me multiplied in a wonderful way. It is good, very good. This will help you get the money toward the right attitude toward money. Never criticize money by saying it is filthy lucre. It is bad, it is tainted. You cannot attract what you criticize. When you begin to think these things through, you will realize that real wealth depends on the circulation of wonderful ideas in your mind which well up from the subconscious level. One sales manager I knew used to get ideas for his promotional sales campaign when he awakened in the morning. He became the president of the company. They never had a sales manager like him. Your subconscious mind is never short of ideas. There are within it an infinite number of ideas ready to flow into your conscious mind and appear as cash in your pocket book in countless ways. This process will continue to go on in your mind regardless of whether the market goes up or down, or whether the pound sterling or dollar drops in value. Your wealth is never truly dependent on bonds, stocks, or money in a bank. These are really all symbols necessary and useful, of course. The point I wish to emphasize is that if you convince your subconscious mind that wealth is yours and that plenty of money is always circulating in your life, you will always have it regardless of the form it takes. If you believe that wealth or money is dependent on your job or more hours of work, you have a limited concept. You are bound by your own beliefs. This is a world of cause and effect. If you worry and fret about money, this mood of lack will produce a greater lack of money. Your mental attitude is the cause, less money is the effect. There is one emotion which is the cause of financial lack in the lives of many. Most people learn this fact the hard way. It is envy. For example, if you see a competitor depositing large sums of money in the bank and you have only a meager amount to deposit, does it make you envious? The way to overcome this emotion is to say to yourself, isn't it wonderful? I rejoice in that man's prosperity. I wish for him greater and greater wealth. Do you know what you're doing? You are actually impressing the subconscious mind with the idea of wealth. To entertain envious thought is devastating because it places you in a very negative position. Therefore, wealth flows from you instead of to you. If you are ever annoyed or irritated by the prosperity of great wealth of another, claim immediately that you truly wish for him greater prosperity in every possible way. This will neutralize the negative thoughts in your mind and cause a greater measure of wealth to flow to you by the law of your own subconscious mind. Maybe you know someone who is always trying to make ends meet. They seem to have a great struggle with money. Have you listened to their conversation? In many instances, their conversation runs along this vein. They are constantly condemning those who have succeeded in life and who have put their heads above the crowd. Perhaps they are saying, oh, that fellow has a racket. He's ruthless. He's a crook. This is why they lack. They are condemning the thing they desire and want. The reason they speak critically of their prosperous associates is because they are envious and covetous of the other's prosperities. The quickest way to cause wealth to take wings and fly away is to criticize and condemn others who have more money than you. Do you say you never had a chance? Are you blaming your relatives, your mother, your father, because they never aided you financially? Stop doing it immediately. Learn that the secret of wealth is the correct use of your own mind. All of the resources of that infinite mind are behind you, seeking expression through you. If you will only have a receptive mental attitude, if you are worried and critical about someone whom you claim is making money dishonestly, cease worrying about him. You know such a person is using the law of mind negatively. The law of mind takes care of him. Be sure not to criticize him for the reasons before assigned. If you are experiencing a financial block, the obstruction is in your mind. You can now destroy that mental block. Get on mental good terms with everyone. As you go to sleep tonight, practice the many techniques which is occasionally referred to in this book. Repeat the word wealth quietly, easily, and feelingly. Do this over and over again as a lullaby. Lull yourself to sleep with the word wealth. You should be amazed at the result. Wealth should flow to you in avalanches of abundance. This is another example of the miracles of the subconscious mind. Here we go. And now we're done with the excerpt. I hope you guys liked it as much as I like it. I actually love it. And I think this, when I read this, it was mind blowing for me. When I read this for the first time, I couldn't believe how such a short paragraph could shift my paradigm when it comes to money and wealth. And I think it serves, at least in my life, as a foundation to my practice of meditation, the law of attraction, and all those practices that we want to implement in our lives to make us more successful and wealthy, obviously. And of course, I'm still in the process of using those things. It's funny how when you read new information, that's why a guy like Bob Proctor would say that repetition is key. When you read this kind of words for the first time, they kind of inspire you, they motivate you, but they do not necessarily sink in. And that's why, again, Bob Proctor would say that he would constantly read Think and Grow Rich over and over again. Even if you read Think and Grow Rich, he advised us, he advised us, sorry, he's not here anymore. Napoleon advised us to actually read. I don't remember which chapter. Maybe it's the chapter on auto-suggestion to repeat, or the chapter on faith. Maybe that seems more ideal. He would advise us to read this chapter once a day, every day. along with our auto-suggestions and our affirmations. That's how important repetitions are. And that's why I tend to go to back to the words of Joseph Murphy a lot, because they do help me strengthen my faith, sorry. So those words, I keep going and going, and I have to say I'm not necessarily practicing exactly what he says, but the concept in and of itself, the deep-seated concept of wealth and the way he imparted to us is just amazing. And before I leave you guys, I want to give you the three or four takeaways from this chapter. Number one is, if your affirmations do not sound realistic to you, you need to change in a way that they sound more realistic to you. However, I would say, and this is my bonus tip, if you will, you might be in a place where none of the affirmations will actually be believable for you. So choose an affirmation that is the most quote unquote believable for you without being too unbelievable for you, so to speak. Let's say if you have an affirmation, if you say, I want to, I am a millionaire, as Joseph Murphy said, you will not believe it. But you can say like, I have more than enough to for me and my family, or stuff like this. And of course, you can choose the wording as you please, and it should be believable. But, and that's another bonus tip, and I heard this from another YouTuber that is pretty amazing, Create Your Future, Amanda. And she said the greatest affirmation you can possibly say to yourself is, I know that my thoughts create. And once you say this, you can believe, because you could be affirming all day, all night, and not believing in what you affirm. However, if you have a foundation of, I know that my thoughts create, and when you have those meta thoughts, as she said, that comes crippling in your mind, that comes out and translates as words like, oh, I'm not sure this is going to work, this is bullshit, blah blah blah. Change this mindset and change those thoughts, so I know that my thoughts create. And you will see, you will feel much more relaxed and less frustration and less anxiety, especially over time. So remember that your thoughts create, and I know that my thoughts create. So choose the right affirmation, and more importantly, affirm them often. That's what he said in the chapter. That's what he wrote in the chapter. Affirm them often, often, whenever you have time. As soon as you're conscious of your thought, and your thoughts uh, are needed, I'm not sorry, not needed. As if your attention is not fully in the present moment, loop your affirmations. Keep on repeating them in your mind, as he said, quietly and feelingly, in a monotone voice. If you're present if you completely focus on a task, you don't need to think about it. That's amazing. But as soon as your thoughts are running wild in your mind, do not let, especially at the beginning, you will see that your thoughts, as soon as you become more aware of your thoughts, you will see how amazingly wild they are, and how amazingly negative they can be. So you need to guard your thoughts. And if you have, for those of you who have read the book by Kamal Ravikant, he said that you don't want to get rid of the negative mental loops. You just want to create your own positive mental loop. And by strengthening this new positive mental loop, the old not so good negative mental loop will fade away. That's what Neville Goddard, for those of you who are familiar with Neville Goddard, called the old man. So get rid of the old man conversation. That's how he calls it. So yeah, believe in your affirmation as much as you can. Repeat them as much as you can. And especially when you have a negative thought, as soon as you have a negative thought, replace it with a positive statement. Do not let it finish. Sometimes, yes, at the beginning you will not be able to catch all the negative thoughts. It doesn't matter. Don't never beat down on yourself, and never think, oh, I'm doing it wrong. Never think negative about what you're doing. I was like, oh my God, I've done this. I didn't catch this thought. Never mind. Live in the present. Whatever is in the past, in the past. You cannot deal with it. It's in the past. It's in the past. You didn't catch it. It's okay. Move on to the next thought, and move on to the next positive thought. As soon as you have a thought like, oh my God, I let go. I didn't catch those 10 negative thoughts that just came to my mind. Don't worry about this. Don't think like this. Just affirm your positive intention statements, your positive affirmation, auto-suggestion, intention, blah blah blah. All that good stuff, right? So don't worry about the past. Just stay in the present. Keep on affirming. If you have a thought about like a doubt or stuff like this, I know that my thoughts create and affirm what you want in the present tense, obviously. So that's another takeaway. And more, another one that is critical too, and I heard I'm starting to do it myself, and I really love it, is to use this moment right before you sleep to affirm what you want. And he suggests affirming things like wealth and success and repeating it 4 times a day for 4 times a day for 5 minutes. And I think it's a great technique. I've done it before. I wouldn't say I don't like it, but it's not my style. I'd rather be more specific. But some people love it. I depends, to each their own, and that's the beauty of all this teaching is we can really choose and customize those teaching to what feels better for us. So yeah, take this moment before you don't want to go to sleep in a negative state of mind. So that's why it's important to turn off your computer. Don't read stuff that will stimulate your mind. Just it's better to chill, read, listen to some cool music, chill down, then repeat your affirmation, read something positive, inspirational, motivational, and right before you sleep, affirm over and over again whatever you want the most. Affirm it, and you will fall asleep, and the last thought will manifest and be impressed upon your subconscious mind. Anyway, I think I've talked too much for this for this episode. I hope you guys like it, and I will talk to you soon.